Hello, this is Jim. Welcome to the Patio Chat. This is actually Patio Chat number 3. I have done this. This is the third time, January 3rd, 2018. I'm back at it. I've had some setbacks. So this is the forum for all things truth, freedom, and love. I'm going to continue on with these and improve them all the time. Today we're going to be talking about the culture of conformity, the subject of episode 3. Also today, finally, because I've done this 3 times, we're going to talk about The Last Jedi. Very disappointing, but we'll get to that. Star Wars. I had these when I was a young Padawan learner. So, anyway, this is where we're starting to get communications back out on our patios again. We want to get people out talking again. That's what's missing in society. We're dying. We need to get together, get off these social medias. They're okay, but we need more human interaction. We got to get back to human interaction, or we're going to have problems. So let's go ahead and get right on into things. I'm always looking for good ways to improve everything I do. I'm self-taught in everything. I have learned so much. This journey is incredible. I'm pretty tired right now. I'll give you an update on my jet project. The jet noise has been going on here for years. The torture, which is just absolutely horrible. I don't even comprehend this business of torturing people. But this monster jet journal I did for December that has all my documentation for 1 month, it was not near as bad of a month as others. But at least we got documentation going. I got oodles of video and audio documentation. And I'm going to write up my what happened to me because of all this. And I got a bunch of stuff to put together. January, I'll have all my documentation together, and I think we'll have ample reason for a grand jury, and just need to get the right legal team, and then go to civil action from there. All I can say is the bastards are going to pay, and pay dearly. They will. So, right today, we're talking a lot of things today. I'm kind of renewed energy after the first of the year. There's a lot going on. And so let's talk about our tools for this journey of awakening, I call it. I came up with, if you look up an old term, well, a gaffer, you've probably heard of a gaffer in the TV and movie industry. They have what's called a gaffer, who's someone in charge of some lighting, I think. But there's an old British definition for a gaffer is a boss, supervisor, something along those lines. So when I did some thinking, since the tools for this journey for me have always been gratitude, acceptance, and forgiveness. So I took that gaff into a gaffer. So we should become gaffers. A new definition of the boss of our destiny, the supervisor of our domain. That is my definition for gaffer, and I'm thinking, let's become gaffers. Gratitude, acceptance, and forgiveness. The 3 tools to everything in this place. So, that's one thing. What does ignorance really mean? People think ignorance means you're not educated. Wrong. And what is educated? Boy, that's a whole nother topic. So, let's wordsmith a bit. You always break words down. You can tell what they mean by breaking things down. It's amazing. Ignore is the root of this word. Ignore. You're ignoring something you know. You're ignoring something you already. It's almost like ignorance is actually more of something that you're a form of denial. So I think ignorance is more a form of denial. It has nothing to do with education. So we need to take those things we're ignoring, bring them forward, and that's where acceptance comes in. The gratitude, acceptance, and the forgiveness. We have to accept these things. We have to accept what we don't want to sometimes, but that's the only way to truth. So, not always easy, but what is? Go to my website. I talk a lot about that. MyapisLove.org. Check it out. Share it, please. And briefly, I'm just going to bring this up. This is on my website. This goes into the conspiracy realm and the tinfoil hat realm and whatever you want to label things. Humans and their labels. Still never did understand that. But on my website is a big write-up on this. Another example of this free energy I speak of a lot that we need to start using. It's being kept from us. But they use it. The controllers use it. So the good's being used against us, and one day we'll get there. I know we'll get there. Well, we have to, because if we don't, humanity is just on a spiral of dying. So go on the website, myapisLove.org, on the information tab. I talk about Project Bluebeam. Read about it. And then there's links. And please, go find out stuff I don't know. I've been looking into this stuff for decades. And now I see it. I don't have to read it anymore because I watch it. So once you watch it with your own eyes, you no longer need to be awakened. So just check it out. Let's go ahead and get on to Star Wars. Wow. I'll give the good first, I guess. The visually and everything else, the sound, most of the reviewers are saying the same thing. Wonderful. Probably the most visually amazing Star Wars film ever made for the complete piece of garbage that it is. Now, when Disney took over Star Wars, I said this myself. I said Disney will destroy Lucas's dream. He'll destroy the concept of Jedi and Force and these things that have been fictionalized. They're actually real. And they've done just that. Disney's destroyed Star Wars. I'll never go see another one. And to me, Star Wars ended with Return of the Jedi. The prequels were part of that. All those 6 movies, that was Star Wars, and it died there. I was not thrilled with the Force Awakens, with this Snoke character and this references to all those the Nephilim giants in the Bible that people talk of quite a bit. There's a lot of occult references. Disney's full of occult reference. The controllers they work. Disney does wonderful things for them, and we'll get to that here in a minute. So Last Jedi there's no more Jedi. There's no more Force. I'm not going to go into specific scenes. Watch some of the other reviewers on the internet that really know what the Star Wars was supposed to be. It's the longest one since Revenge of the Sith. It's Lord of the Rings, kind of epic, definitely amazing. However, the story's gone, and it just shows the rebellion is stupid and inept. They don't want you to think you can fight them. They do this this is how mind control works in the media, and Disney is at the helm of mind control in the media. Disney sexualizes children. Take a look at the Disney Channel sometime. It's stomach turning. They push conformity. They push this society. Oh my God, Disney is the worst thing. Always has been. And I'm not going to go into all about Disney today. Too much, but we're going to show some of Disney's greatest hits here. How they like to sexualize children and teach conformity and the subliminal messages that are in their films. It's crazy. This is a Disney cartoon, and that mirror or that the poster on the wall, it spells out "Ask about Illuminati." Now, you probably heard about Illuminati is one of those things I group in the controllers. We'll get there. Controllers are anything you would call your controller. You know, another human has no say in your life. Yet we seem to listen to them. I don't know, but so powers that be, Illuminati, the rich, whoever, I lump them into the controllers. Well, Disney's been doing their dirty deeds to our children for years. And back when The Little Mermaid came out, my friend had the original copy with the cover on it. This cover with the phallus, big as day. And you may not actually see that, but your mind sees it. And children see this. And that's why we need to really start waking up to these things. We got to wake up to what we're seeing here and stop this stuff. And now Disney's ruined another thing. Star Wars was a wonderful thing for a lot of people. It was a wonderful concept for people, especially like me, the empath, the force, that spiritual energy that is the force. So that's what Star Wars was. In The Lion King, the sex was written out in the clouds. Go back, watch it, unless they've edited it out by now. But get yourself original copies of these things, and they're in them. This one speaks for itself. I was amazed at all the Disney things I've collected over the years. This is just a few of them. Disney's ruined Star Wars. Thank you very much. I don't know. I'm going to go back and watch the 6 Star Wars so I can feel that good feeling again. I saw it weeks ago. This is the 3rd time I've recorded this Patio Chat because of all the technical problems I've had that I've fixed now. So, avoid Star Wars, guys, unless you just want a visually amazing ride, which it was. Avoid Star Wars. So, every week we're going to do a movie talk and quote of the week and stuff. Also, on this week's, we'll get to that at the end. Sorry, we'll get some Star Wars stuff at the end. So, my quote of the week today is from Edmund Burke from 1770. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. Look around, people. Good men aren't doing much. I am. Some of us are. Just because we're standing up to this and had enough does not make us full of love and does not make us bad men. We're good men. We're tired of it. So this leads into our topic today on this culture of conformity that we're going to get to. One thing on this quote I want to mention, it was also used by President Kennedy in a speech. Right back here. Good old Mr. Kennedy. No surprise there that he used it. Evil is currently triumphing, so obviously good isn't doing a whole lot. And now people like to pick things apart. So Wikipedia has a different take on the source of this quote. It has a different way in which it was said. However, go look into that. It changes the meaning none. So it doesn't really matter when it was said, by who, and who assembled this thing. I use Edmund Burke. It doesn't change its meaning. We need to start doing something. Okay? And that brings us right into this culture of conformity. First off, when I do my books and seminars and the podcasts and other things, I talk a lot about the controllers I mentioned earlier. That's a lumping of all of they. Whenever you say they, the powers that be, or Illuminati has been called, secret societies, blah, blah, blah. All the evil bastards controlling us. I loop them in the conformers, or controllers. The conformers are almost as bad and as dangerous to our success as their agenda. Conformity has got to stop. And I'm not talking about stop being nice to people. That's what's really missing. Conformity doesn't mean you don't open doors. I'm not going to treat people nice. That's not conformity. Conformity is obeying the next rule that's obviously a violation of everything that freedom is and needs to be said no to. The next permit, the next fee, the next rule, the next yada, yada. This is a new policy that I don't agree with. Well, if you don't agree with it, you won't have your job. So the fear comes in. So they conform. It's easy to see. It's a total agenda. It's one huge lie. It's the biggest lie. It's the biggest Ponzi scheme that was ever created. You don't conform. You can't get paid. So then you can't eat and get the basics of humanity that you need. Once you have to work enslaved to have the basics, you are enslaved. The basics should never be having to be without, and don't need to be. Once you get into get into this stuff, you'll see it. It doesn't. We don't have to be without this. We don't have to live this way, but it's going to take some courage. I know I'm not going to live this way. For me, it's either freedom or pretty much death. Yes, I'm done. I've had enough. But conformity is, it leads us. Just because mental health. Oh boy, there's another part of that system. Get you into mental health. Mental health in their system means get them to obey. That's all mental health is. Get them to obey. It's not a measure of health to be well adjusted to a sick society. Not at all. I'm not adjusted to this sick society, and I would be labeled insane by their system, their books, the DSM-5. Easily. Oh my God, I think there's a thing. There is an actual condition in the DSM-5 about disobedience to conformity. I can't remember what it is. I have to look that up again, but it's in there. So if you buck the system, that's now a mental illness. So it's crazy. It's crazy. I'll say it over and over, crazy. So what we need to do is more discernment, the things you're being fed. I talk about this in the seminar, which I'll be filming soon. Does what you're being fed make sense? Does it make physical sense? Does it make spiritual sense? Does it make any kind of sense at all? Another way to look at something is, what are you watching on your television or whatever you're being exposed to, even if it's a paper? Does what you're absorbing, information you're absorbing, make you feel fearful? If it makes you feel fear, turn it off. Change it to something else. Now, getting informed and waking up is not fearful. It's overwhelming, can be a little striking, but not fearful. Fearful is when you're afraid to act out on atrocities. You're afraid to stand up when you see things like this. You're afraid to say, enough of this. This is crap. This is garbage. This is garbage way to live. And how can somebody that's in that line of whatever you want to call that, go home at night and look at their families and look themselves in the mirror and know that they just hurt their society a little more today. We just caused a little more damage to the evolvement of mankind. Wow. I don't label that a hero in any way. Social media is not helping. It's become the new addiction. It's called a process addiction. It's no different than sex, pornography, Facebook, cell phones. These are process addictions. Take in moderation, just like with the booze. If you drank as much as you used the Facebook, would you be an alcoholic? Oh my God, you probably wouldn't even be able to walk most days. So think about that, guys. Conformity gets worse in the society based in fear. We have to turn that fear off so we don't conform. We have to be willing to stand up and get together. If you're all home on social media, we can't interact and get groups of people together to say no. We don't want violence. People don't want violence. When the time comes, people like me and others, we'll do what's necessary. We're the wrong ones to mess with. But empaths, we don't want violence. I think even Kennedy said this, when you remove the civil disobedience part, then you make violence inevitable. We don't want these things. But you back a badger in the corner with nothing to lose, which is what I am, then things happen. So we need the courage to just start saying no as a majority. No more. No more. If everybody says no longer sends their checks in, there's nothing they can do. They can't just send out mass forces. Everybody says no, they lose. And then everybody starts doing their own thing without asking them. We'd have to do it right. It could get ugly. So yes, no more of this conformity. I can give you an example the other day of willful conformity for a paycheck. Ridiculous. We've been in this county this winter. We haven't had the amount of snowfall that we usually have. And last week, it snowed about 3/4 an inch to an inch, maybe, wet snow. And middle of the night, because I always work at night most often, I've modified my sleeping schedule for the jet noise every day. So I work at night, sleep during the day best I can, and then I'm getting my book done. At least I'm modifying for the torture. Hallelujah. Boy, it's just amazing. You know what, guys? Stop flying your war machines over our homes. We are not interested in your genocide. So stop it. It's disgusting. Okay, so we need to do something about it, guys. They were plowing the 1 inch of snow, and they were all over the place. Their budgets is what they were doing. They're out plowing something that really didn't need to be plowed because they have to burn budgets. But they'll do that rather than feed people. You know, they'll conform to that for the paycheck with no consciousness about it whatsoever and how wrong it really is, just like anything else. Conform, 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 and we slip another notch into disinvolvement. It's amazing. And so they plowing all over the place to spend budgets. Just like our, $500 billion genocide budget every year, when that would feed and clothe the world around many, 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 many times. More disgust. So I'm not going to continue on with too much of this anymore, guys. We're heading for disaster. My seminar gets into all these things. I touch on them. Not every one of my patio chats is going to be on this. So next time we're completely different. We'll talk about that in the end. But I'm trying to get a couple out. The seminar I'm going to re-record over this month in pieces. It's going to be easy. So let's get on to some cool old stuff. Let's see here. You know, I love Star Wars. Most of my old Star Wars toys were gone. You know, I had these for a little while. They didn't make these when I was a kid, but if I'd have had cool lightsabers like this when I was a kid, I don't know what I'd tell. This would have been great. They say these are for ages 5 and up, and I'm almost 40. I'll be 48 next week, and they couldn't thrill me more. So, call me 5 years old, but I kind of love those things. I do have here the original Star Wars book. This is from 1976, as written by George Lucas. Let's see here. Do you believe you can see that? Let's put that up there. Star Wars by George Lucas, 1976. Interesting thing about this book. So, have you guys go and look into what's called the Mandela effect? You know, I don't know much about the Mandela effect, but I do know stuff about physics, time travel, and other things. But read up about the Mandela effect. I could have sworn, I've had this book for a long time. See, Luke Skywalker's original name was Luke Skydancer. And I could have sworn this book still had the name Luke Skydancer in it. And as I look through it now, it says Luke Skywalker in it. But I remember reading, I know the original name for Luke Skywalker was Skydancer. I know that. So I thought that was in this book. It was a cool thing to have. I thought I'd show you guys because it's pretty awesome. So next thing I wanted is show you. This is all mostly books this week. This is a book called Number by Tobias Danzig, and he was a mathematician, doctor. I think he taught at the University of Maryland or something. Anyways, this gets into numerology, spiritual stuff, codes and graphs, and history of the number. And this book I read a little in college is so fascinating on the basics of our just numbers, into languages, into all this stuff. Right now, as I'm learning the tarot and learning how to study the tarot, I've been using this as kind of a reference along with it, and it's helped me immensely. This book was printed in 1930. It's called Number, the Language of Science. Awesome book. Coolest thing ever. So, all right, guys. So that's my only cool old stuff this week. Just a couple books, but I'll try to have something other than books because my recommendations too are books. This guy, I'm kind of getting to know over the internet. I'm going to meet him this spring when I go down to Oregon. This is the artwork of David Dees. I think he's got 3, maybe 4 volumes out now. This is the first volume. And I use a lot of these pictures in my seminars and stuff. He's just got all kinds of cool, crazy, not crazy at all. So go to his website, I think ddees.com. The artwork of David Dees. He's a wonderfully intelligent man who's very awake. Check it out right here. So now this book is one that's not for. You better be waking up to read this, okay, guys? If you're still kind of unsure on some things, don't start here. But it's called The Transformation of America. It's by Kathy O'Brien. She was a mind control victim. This is the stuff I study about mind control, abuse, societies, the occult. This is what's running the show, guys. Transformation of America by Kathy O'Brien. Only if you're ready. This is a hard book to stomach. It's a hard one to read, guys. So, let's see. We're about out of my time for this week, so I cut the music out of my patio chats and videos for now because I'm trying to fix them up so the video's better, the audio is improved. I burned up one camera. I'm on my other one now. I'm using the web camera, so I'm learning all the time. I know I have a very high IQ, but that's because I'm self-taught. I love this. I've learned how to do so much. I'm not going to toot my own horn because I don't have an ego. I just have direction. So, JFK, he's always our last one. So, please go to my website. My app is love.org. That has a link to my web or my YouTube channel. Please. I need subscribers. I can't get them. I'm trying to get them. I'll never quit. So go, if you know people, take them to my YouTube channel so I can get some subscribers. Then I can do some more things. Maybe get some other things going here. Books will be coming soon. There's some samples of my second book up on the website. Really developing to this trilogy. So check that out, please. I'm going to close in the usual way. Life is nothing more than a ride, albeit a dangerous one. It has killed everyone that's ever embarked on it, a roller coaster of hope and despair, but don't be discouraged. Find your inner courage. All destinations have a journey, and it's this journey that defines who we are. Defined by the knowledge of truth that you accumulate along the way, and not by the material things that people seem to cherish way too much. This journey is your soul's purpose. Every soul has a different purpose. And we must embrace these differences to evolve. When we try to be all the same, we devolve, which is getting worse every day with conformity. Gratitude, acceptance, and forgiveness are the tools required for this journey. Become a gaffer, like we talked about today. Misery is easy. Happiness takes work, but the reward is worth it. Very worth it. I just want to get more people around me. I like to have friends again. I like to have people around me again. When you don't drink and you don't want to talk about banality, it's really hard to fit in. I don't fit in a lot of places, but I'm happy, so that doesn't matter. So this is Jim. I'll see you next time on the Patio Chat. Well, I'll be having my first guest, I sure hope. She's one of my oldest friends, and we're going to talk about this subject of love. That's what we're going to talk about next time. What is this? What does it mean to other people? I'm even going to be going out on the street with my camera, and I'm going to be doing on location, getting people together. I'm going to try to get people thinking. I'm really going for it with this project. I mean it. I walk the talk every day. So I love you all, and please go to my website. Let's start treating one another a little better. Let's just check it out, guys. I got to go. I'll see you next time. I don't know how to close it properly.